Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Scott Flip and Customize here. And today we are working on a 2021, I believe, CFmoto. And that's not really the important part. It's just that's a UTV side-by-side. It is the CFmoto. We're gonna be installing a pretty cool Bluetooth LED 500 watt speaker system from Rough Country, as well as their pod lights up here. Check this out. All right, so this is what we got, you guys. It's the Rough Country 8 speaker 500 watt sound system, and this thing, I guess, absolutely cranks. It's got LED lights in it, the whole deal. We got some brackets for some pod lights we're gonna put up here. They didn't actually make the brackets for the CFmoto, so I believe the customer supplied everything because they actually can buy it better than I can. Yeah, go figure. That one, Rough Country. So anyway, we're gonna mount them over here. They go for a razor. We'll see how what's gonna work out. The sound bar, it's probably gonna mount up here behind their head, someplace up into here. Because if it's over here, it's cool that you can reach it. I'm thinking it's gonna be in invisibility, but we'll play around with it. I'm also gonna put links to the description in here as far as so you guys can see what we're actually installing. So let's see what we got and see how these things are gonna work out. All right, here we go. Again, this is for the razor, and it comes with a couple of, four basically carrot style bolts, a bracket for each side, and so it's an inner and outer. It's kind of the universal type fit, and I'll show you what I'm saying. Is basically it's a slot and a tab that goes through here. The two bolts pinch on here, and it clamps onto the frame. Now, with that being said, this clearly is sloppy and big, so not exactly what we were hoping for. However, I'm gonna play around with this for a few minutes. Possibly we might be able to trim this down and just use it here as well. So the customer's open as far as that goes and how we configure it and everything. So it may work and just get rid of the universal mount and mount it through the actual frame brackets itself. Let me play around with this for a few minutes and we'll kind of figure out a path forward. Again, they didn't have the mount for the CFmoto specifically, and I believe this is a Zforce model. But we're gonna make this work, so we're not worried about that. And the wiring is wiring, so that'll work anyway. All right, guys, we got a path forward. Just quickly taking this bracket apart to use the main bracket itself. The holes, the two carriage bolt mounting holes, the square holes here, appear like they're gonna be very close to lining up. Minimal. Might have to oversize them a little bit, but we will have to cut the actual back of the tab bracket off where that little slot is. So just behind the mounting holes, I think that's going to give us what we need to get this thing mounted. And there's still clearance that they can partially open their lower windshield. The other option was to kind of flip them around. Not on this side, sorry. If this was if this was over here, it clears the windshield completely. However, Rough Country is now completely backwards, and that just gonna attract all kinds of attention. So I think we'll be good here. It'll allow that lower windshield to open up and get some airflow in there for them. And these will mount up fairly easy, I think, with some minimal fabrication and some grinding. So we'll get these cut and then we'll see how they fit. All right, guys, so I went ahead and took off the side view mirror and the hardware on the side of the windshield. And then I got thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? We can actually go behind the side view mirror mounts with the bracket. Let me see if I can do this and hold the camera. Sorry for shaking it. That was not very nice of me. Like so. So, okay, there we go. So that was on there like that. I'm trying to do this with one hand. And then the bracket for the mirror goes right over that. You don't even have to cut these at all. Therefore, we don't have to repowder coat or paint them or anything. All we do have to do, since we have a template, I'll show you what I mean by template. Stand by. All right, so we have the mounting holes from the mirror right here. You just lay them over the holes for the Rough Country bracket, and they are literally the same. So we're just gonna go with a drill bit the size of these and enlarge these holes. That is it, and I think the mount will work out just perfect right here, and the customer should be happy with that. We also just loosely use the hose clamps to mount the speaker up behind the head. Now, I'm about 6 feet, close to it, and I've got about 4 inches of clearance above my head before I would rub my head on that speaker. It's very loose, it's hanging down, so with a helmet, you might have a couple inches of clearance. So I gotta run this by the customer and make sure they're okay with that location as well on the speaker before we move ahead with that. But in the meantime, we're gonna get these drilled and put on. All right, so we got the brackets drilled out, and I used a 7/16 drill. However, The holes are off just enough where you have to elongate them a little bit towards the center. And then they actually go right in, and the bracket looks like it was made to go there. I had to put a little tweak in it as well because it kind of is at an angle. So therefore it's square to the machine and the window still opens. So that is cool. So we're gonna go ahead and get the bracket on the other side and we'll get these things wired up. All right guys, we got our brackets all in, and it's actually, although the windshield clears, it is gonna rub the corner of the light itself. So I just got to get permission from the customer to trim this out a little bit. It's not going to affect anything on the windshield. So that's kind of a minor thing, and that's okay. And now we're talking about the wiring of the light itself. And what I've done is I've taken the center storage tray out because you get access to the back and all the electronics, which is going to be the back of where the switch will go over here. So we'll have to get to that anyway. But I've also took this fender flare off to get to some of the internals in here as far as routing the wires. So what we're gonna do here is, otherwise, if you just like sandwich the wire and then you'd be pinching it, it's not gonna be good. So underneath the black here, we're gonna groove this out so I can slide the wire right into here, and maybe another little groove here into the black, so it's just a nice cleaner look where the wiring goes down into the machine itself. This one's a little tight and a little off because this machine has been on its side at some point, so things are a little tweaked. But that's okay. We're gonna groove this out and both sides so we can get the wiring run in there. And like I said, it's just the pod, the wiring, and then a power switch. I mean a power source, and then the switch. All right, just loosely have the pod light laying here just to kind of show you what we did. And that's the end result right there. Tiny little slot we put. Did it in the under fender itself, tucked the wire in through there, and then now we can put the outer fender back on and the pop rivets in place, and that wire will route up nice and quiet and out of place, and that's not gonna be a problem. Talk to the customer. We're gonna cut the corner off of this windshield right here so we can clearance for that, get the pod lights mounted, and then we'll run the rest of the wiring. All right, we got our windshield trimmed up. Just use a little vibra tool and some die grinders and sandpaper to clean that up. Everything's all dusty and covered with plastic, but it's all trimmed up and clearance, so now our pod lights will not interfere with that whatsoever. All right guys, it looks like a wiring mess, but it's actually very, very, very simple. The rough country lighting always comes like pre-wired, and it's all loomed up. It's actually really good. I like it. It's just naturally you're gonna have extra that you're gonna have to tuck and bunch up where it's not in the way and it doesn't look bad. So basically you got your switch, which serves as a relay. I question that because a lot of their other lights have relays in them. I called and talked to them that this is part or considered the relay, and it's 3 positions. So you have your off, your daytime running lights, and your headlights or your pod lights on. So there's 3 positions to it. There's literally a branch circuit here to this pod light, another one here to this pod light, your switch, and then you run one all the way back to the power, well, the battery. So therefore you have a power source, and then you can run them all the time. So if you shut the machine off, you're hanging out, you want to have a drink, or you get stuck or whatever, you don't have to have the machine running, and you could still run your lights, which is a nice feature in the off-road world. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle our switch next, and then we'll kind of clean and groom everything out so it's not gonna show, and then we're gonna run our power source back to the battery, which I believe is in the left rear tire where it's covered in mud, but we'll get it. All right, we're in here. We're gonna be wiring the switch up now, and it's just 2 10mm head bolts that screw in from the bottom to drop this lower portion down, and then this one actually has a blank in it which just pops out. Took that blank out, and I think our rough country switch, I believe, should fit right in here, and if it does, it's a pretty simple route to get it from out there into here, and the switch is done and clean. So I'll see if that fits now. All right, the answer is yes. So when you push that blank out, you could do this one either or, it doesn't matter, but now you have full range of that switch, and it clicks right in there, and then the wiring just routes up underneath here and back out into the under the hood area, and then we're going to route over, button this back up and route over to the battery, and that'll complete the install. All right, now we got our switch in, and we groomed up our wires, so we just folded them up neatly under here because there's that cargo piece that goes in right here and it covers this all up. So it's in here back by the fuse panel, so all your extra wiring is in here. We didn't have to cut or hack up any wiring, and all we have now is the power wire we're going to run back to the battery. So I'm going to tuck it back down in here. This is on the lift right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the lift because we have it. You don't need it, but and find a good way to route this along the frame back to that battery, as well as taking this battery cover off, which is covered in mud. So I think a 10 there and another one down here. We can pull this cover off and get our connection made. Oh, and while we're at it, the subwoofer is also going to get a power source there as well. So we'll probably be running that wire as well. The only connection on that is to literally run the wiring down to the battery, to the speaker unit itself. So we might as well get that one connected at the same time. I just kind of wanted to show you where I was running that power wire. Kind of looped over the frame there and tucked in behind this piece of frame right here. And then I went ahead and pulled the 10mm screws out of the bottom of this plastic, and a whole bunch of mud fell on my head. But besides that, you pull it down here, and that's where it is right now. It's gonna be barely long enough, but I'm gonna tuck it up here along this frame member, and then up to the battery right there. So it's almost there. I just kind of wanted to show you the routing that I am taking with it. It'll be tucked up in there on top of the frame, obviously, where it'll be protected into the battery. So I just wanted to quickly show you kind of where we were making the run. You can kind of see where it's gone up to in there as well, all the way up to the compartment in front. All right, guys, battery cover box. Yeah, did I say that right? Battery box cover, boy, is off. And we've made it to the battery with nothing left to spare as far as getting the power and negative connected up to the battery. The fuse is also back here, right on top of the battery. So it's not horrible to get to, but make sure the customer's aware, or you're aware, that where the fuse is for these lights. At the same time, I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone and tuck in our power and ground as well as the fuse. Again, it'll land on top of the battery for our speaker itself. So since we're in here with the battery box, you might as well get that connected as well. All right, guys, good news, we got lights. So let me show you. Obviously that's the off position, and then this would be the first position, would be the daytime running light. So it's just like a thin two little LEDs right in the middle there for a daytime running light. And then obviously full up, 3-position switch is on. Woo, baby. Yes, so these are gonna be awesome for off-road as well as plowing, because we did some plow frame repairs on this thing as well, and his plow was being blocked by his headlights were being blocked by his plow. So this is gonna help him with plowing as well. So the headlight portion is done. We're gonna route up the wire for the speaker and get that powered up and finish buttoning that up because it's just hanging there right now. All right, kind of just show you what this thing is capable of. Again, 500 watts. It's got tweeters in it. It's marine grade, so it's waterproof. Durable construction. It's got a microphone in it as well. LED lights also. I'm gonna go ahead and slide this thing out of here. And the box is bigger than, well, this is heavy. I wouldn't want that to come down on my head. But that says one thing. This thing's beefy. So I'm gonna get it out of the plastic and see what we got, because I'm digging it. I like the style. And if it's anything like the Rough Country products we've done in the past with the wiring, it's pretty much plug and play. And it's just a matter of finding a good mounting spot. All right, here it is out of the box. And it's got to weigh, I bet this thing weighs 10 pounds. It's metal on the outside. There's all kinds of different holes in it for mounting locations if you're going to mount it like through your roof. However, the primary mounting system they say for it are these brackets right here. They go on the ends, and you can, same thing, mount that through a roof or whatever you decided to do. The other option is to use a, basically they call it a worm clamp, excuse me. It's just a hose clamp. So you kind of just have this bracket on the end of the speaker, and then the hose clamp around here, around the frame of the vehicle, which is, I think, is going to be the plan for in here, because the roof is plastic. I don't know how that would hold up specifically, so if we can get it to work with the frame here, then that's what we're going to try. So first things first, we'll get the end mounts put on and then see if it mounts up to the frame or close. All right, it's worth mentioning that on the end of the bracket, it came with this caution tag that basically says the mounting bracket is designed for light duty on-road driving. If you're going to be off-road and using it for impact conditions, there's a website here to get a better, ruggeder mount. So that's worth mentioning to you, the installer, the customer, whoever's going to be using it. Make sure they're aware of this. So just be aware of that. All right, guys, I apologize. I don't know what happened to the speaker portion of the install, but I did the complete install, and I thought I had it all recorded, and it really didn't. So I missed a big chunk of it. But anyway, the mounts we were talking about, they actually just screw onto the ends of the speaker, and it's got detents in it, so you can kind of rotate it around. And then it has the bar clamp right here and a hose clamp to the overhead bar of the UTV. And it's actually very rugged when you're done. So that's exactly what you want, obviously, so you don't bang around and hit yourself in the head. You can through bolt this to the roof. This being just a plastic roof, I wouldn't trust that. They do make auxiliary mounts as well. And as far as the power routing goes, we just took the main feed, put it in wire loom, run it down the frame here, tucked it in down under there, and down to the battery box. Remember, we made that connection along with the connection for the pod lights. So that's the speaker in a nutshell. Now I'll show you kind of some about how it works. All right, so it has manual controls as well as a pretty sweet little remote control. And you can basically just hit the power button to turn it on. It'll pair with your phone or whatever you want it to pair with. I can't play music because they're going to slam me with a copyright claim, but take my word for it, it actually pumps out the music. There's an LED light feature that you can go ahead and change that to any color you want, as well as I think it does, I know it does color shifting, and it'll go to the audio as well to your music. And then it also has a backlight LED that you can turn on as well. So at nighttime, this thing is pretty freaking rad. And like I said, it pumps the music out. I had this thing full blast driving around here, and it is freaking awesome. So the customer's gonna be real happy with that. And I did test it. I have about 4 inches of clearance above my head, and I'm about 6 feet tall. So the average person should fit in there no problem at all. All right, I'm gonna get this thing outside because I wanna show you the difference. One of the big complaints the customer had when they lifted their plow up is it would obstruct the view of their headlights completely, almost like you're shutting the headlights off. These pod lights are gonna change that, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about right now. All right, first things first, we can't go out there without like being in style, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do this. There we go. All right, let's get her outside. All right, guys. Ooh, still got my safety glasses on. Here we are outside. It's like, I don't know, 10 degrees out. It's freezing. We're gonna go ahead and test this out. You can see the lighting on the speakers. It's freaking awesome. I like it. Be styling plowing now. All right. All right. So game changer with the headlights. The customer lifts his plow up, right? Like it is now. You've got nothing. Boom. Oh, headlights are on. Lift the plow up. Headlights are gone. Pod lights on. Boom. Doesn't matter the position of your plow anymore. You're not losing that visibility. So that right there is that's the bonus. I mean, besides the fact that these things are bright, really bright, and make it awesome for trail ride in the summer, they're going to be good to go for plowing now as well. All right, guys, it's going to bring us to the end of this episode where we took this 2021 CFmoto UTV and put a set of the rough country pod lights on it, and it kind of looks a lot like their Black Series, but it has a daytime running light, so it's a 3-position switch, as well as the actual pod lights, and they are bright. Game changer. So no longer will he worry about his plow lifting up and his headlights getting cut off as far as that goes. The speaker itself, rough country again. Both links will be in the description. That thing pumps and has some cool lights as well. So I hope this is a good video for you. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think, what you want to see more of. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like so we can keep creating this content. Thanks again, guys. Scott, Flip and Customized.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a stream who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar.